My name is Becky Bowman. My research is on Utah's food insecurity during the pandemic. Food insecurity is the inability to obtain fresh and nutritious food in a socially accepted manner. Utah has a really great trend, at least for 10 years, that shows that there's been a decline of food insecurity individuals. There's a lot of organizations and focus to help these people come off the path of food insecurity to the path of food security. During the pandemic, a lot of resources shut down. Things like United Way, community action, Social Security offices, libraries. A lot of places that people in need use and find help, they were all closed. They were all closed unexpectedly on the same day. As people were losing jobs and getting medical bills driven up due to getting COVID, people were becoming more food insecure, and they had nowhere to turn to help for those things. If they did not have a computer, they couldn't go to the library and look up things. If their phone broke or they never had one, they were also in a bind. They had nowhere to turn for getting any help that they needed. And what I learned is that people pay for their fixed expenses first, such as their rent and their electricity, and things like food get paid last because they're not fixed. All of this learning taught me that I needed to look a little bit more closely at what was going on. Who are these food insecure people? What are the long-term effects? And what will it cost the state of Utah now if we don't help them become back on that path of food security? And what will it cost the state of Utah if we don't help them by 2030? So looking at the numbers of 156,000 people, I found out that a lot of times this type of research is measured or quantified by using medical costs, and there's a lot of reasons why. Food insecurity can lead to rates of obesity and heart problems that are much higher than people that are food secure. With youth, it increases behavioral problems at school and at home, and they have medical issues where they have gone to nurses' offices in school much more frequently. There's increased risk of depression across the board, with suicide attempts much higher and success in adolescents. There's a lot more stress, and there's a lot more domestic violence. And overall, their quality of life is going to suffer. Because of this, medical costs go up. Senior citizens are admitted to care homes a lot more often than people that are food secure. They visit the doctors a lot more often, and since the medical part is measurable, it can be quantified. That's how I chose to do my paper, which is a typical way of measuring food insecurity. So what I learned there is that it's hard to measure quality of life. And I learned that the number is really much, much bigger than what I can come up with. During the research, I went and sent an email to Feeding America and looked at data from WIC and SNAP and different programs to get some hard numbers of different populations, and figured out, basically based on one research paper, that $1,834 more are spent a year on a person that's food insecure for their medical costs than people that are not. And so as people, researchers use that medical expense as a quantifying measure, I use that to calculate what it will cost the state of Utah. And if you look at the top bar, I have about $572 million of expected cost for the year 2022. That's what they would have budgeted. On the blue for 2030 is down because Utah has a tendency to have fewer people every year, and that's what that represents. The pink part represents the people that recently became food insecure that are above the expected number. I was able to calculate about $286 million will be spent this year if they are not helped to the path of food security. If they are not helped, every year it will add up until 2030, where it is about $1.5 billion spent on these unexpected people. And this is significant, not just because of their quality of life, but these are people that were not food insecure just a couple of years ago. And we should be able to find a way or service or program or some type of focus to help them become food secure again. One of the ways to help them is, and I just listed a few in my paper, is that some of these government programs work. One of them here that I have on the poster is SNAP, where people that are signed up for it spend spend $2,360 less per year than people that are not signed up for it. WIC is a great program for women, infants, and children, and for every dollar we spend there, we save $2.48. So on this, I realized that this is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. Financially, I mean, this is more of a rational approach rather than an emotional one, feed the hunger. It makes sense financially and logically. If you look at the people on this wrong path, it's going to cost the state of Utah a lot of money. They're on the wrong path, and we have the bad math. And that's what my research was about. Thank you.